I'm Leslie.
And I'm Shelly.
And we're Sisters Ebert. We wanted to bring out this channel because, well, we love movies.
We've been watching them since we were kids. Grew up in a big movie-filled household.
Shelly's late 80s baby. I'm mid 80s baby, and we're both product of the 90s, early 2000s.
And it shows in our movie taste.
We have a father who is very obsessed with movies and pop culture.
And he made it his mission in life to instill in us what good movies are.
Teach us what proper good movies are.
He definitely made it his personal mission, I think.
Whether we agreed or not.
Yeah, we definitely didn't agree many times.
Which you will see on here. We will be having a series of movie by movie, movies that made us, essentially.
Yeah, we're going to discuss everything that Dad showed us, Mom showed us, things we picked up growing up to see.
TV was life.
Yeah.
Yeah, TV was life for us.
We were in front of a TV quite often.
Quite often, yeah. And as they said in The Simpsons, I grew up TV and I turned out TVs. That's pretty much our childhood. We played a lot of toys and we went outside.
I think we were very well balanced.
Yes.
The pediatricians of today would look at our screen time and say, "Whoa, oh my goodness."
But at the same time, it's a different era.
I think we're well-rounded people.
I do too.
We turned out okay.
And we grew up pre-internet, so that was another
That's true.
benefit.
Yes, we didn't have smartphones to play with.
No.
So we were either staring out a window, playing outside, or watching TV.
Yes.
So.
And most recent research suggests that if you're watching, they used to say TV would rot your brain when we were a kid. However, new research is finding that if it's half hour to an hour programming or more, you're okay. It's the short clips that. So
there we go. We
I
definitely
think we're
okay.
But yeah, pretty much in a nutshell, we're gonna give you a little overview, and then our next video will be our first film that we picked. Mm-hmm. We, like Shelly said and I said, we've watched movies our entire lives. They've been on in the background up until we were elementary age. I think we only had one TV in the house, so that was controlled by Dad, not us.
He did share well, though.
He did, yeah.
Our kids' programming.
PBS in the morning.
Yeah,
and
but we definitely saw a lot of his stuff, too.
Yeah.
And he wanted to show us things. He'd be like, check out this.
Yeah. But it would be strategically edited, too. He was doing his own editing. Like, okay, we're going to change the channel now.
Mm-hmm. Yes.
But this was also in the golden age where you weren't hearing a lot of swearing on television, too. Mm-hmm. It was very edited, not like, you couldn't get away with what you could today.
Yes.
So I think, it worked out really well, and I think it made us kind of fun. Hopefully you all think that too.
So we talked about how Dad wanted to show us all the movies of his life, and this kind of culminated into one glorious time that we refer to as the summer of movies.
With affection and disdain.
So Dad worked middle shift, and so he was home with us during the day when we had off in the summers. So he was able to sit down for a time, usually over lunch. And we would sit together on the couch and watch the movie of his choice of the day. And this became a daily viewing.
And it was always his choice.
Yes.
For that.
He said, tomorrow I'm going to show you a good one. So we definitely had a full schedule that summer.
We did.
And
all genres, comedy, action, everything, all different. Now, a fun fact that we will be referring to quite frequently in our videos, we live in a wooded area, and our couch was positioned in such a manner that where Michelle and I sat, we were looking directly out the glass sliding door into our backyard. So the TV was here, we're here on the couch, glass sliding door is right here. And so when a movie would get boring, we would look out the window.
We found ourselves staring out that window, longing to be outside in the sunshine with the birds and squirrels.
And we had a lot of squirrels and wildlife because our parents fed them. Well, Dad fed them with bird
always
seed.
Bird seed
there's always fat squirrels around.
There's a lot of squirrel activity. So, I mean, it was exciting at times rather than the movie.
When they would fight and things. But, so we would affectionately rate our movies with how many squirrels.
Yeah, so if we found that it was a high squirrel rating movie. It's not a very good movie in our opinion because we were watching the squirrels. So if I saw 27 squirrels that day, I barely watched that movie.
We were counting a lot of squirrels, yeah.
So now we're finding as adults, we're going back and rewatching these movies, giving them another chance, because there are movies I did not want to go back and watch that we watched, but I'm making myself, and I'm finding that now that I'm older, I appreciate it a lot more than when Dad showed us when I was 12.
I agree completely. Yeah, Shelly was about 12 and I was about 14 to 15 when we started this kind of venture. And yeah, I was definitely not wanting to watch some of these movies, but as an adult, I really enjoy them. And a lot of them, I am a firm believer in physical media still, like buying the DVDs and the Blu-rays and all that, so you have them, because as much as I love the convenience of streaming, I am noticing that, you know, they can strategically edit things out, and I believe that, you know, things should be intact as they were put out, as they were intended. So I want all my media to be that way. So I am doing the same thing to my children and kind of showing them, hey, look at this movie, look at this movie. I try to keep it a little bit more age appropriate.
Yes, I find I'm doing the same thing too. It's a nostalgic thing you're saying.
It is.
I loved this when I was a kid, and I really want my kids to love it too. So I'm there like watching them like, are you watching this like I'm watching this? And that's exactly what Dad did to us. He watched us and was like, watch this part, get ready. And he made sure that we were paying attention to the parts that were very important to him.
And another thing to keep in mind with this era in which we came of age is this was all cable television. This was no streaming services. So if you did not physically own the movie or it wasn't on TV, you weren't watching it. So we were the product of, well, our father is also a big sports enthusiast. So every Sunday, you know, was football, you know, and things like that. So he'd be downstairs when we did get another television. Mm-hmm. His was the downstairs television. Ours was the upstairs television. And we would often be watching our Sunday afternoon movies of, you know, whatever they would be showing all day, all the junk girly movies.
Yeah,
and
so Mom would watch those with us often. She'd say, this is a good one. So she kind of did the same thing to us too.
Yes, yeah. But I think like it was a good outlet for her too. So she'll join us for a couple episodes. We hope to have some guest stars as we move along and we find a particular movie that we correlate with a certain individual. Yeah. That we hope to have. So, you know, we're just kind of going with the flow with this. There's no script. There's no agenda. This is our outlet right now.
Yep, we're sisters off the cuff here.
We're two moms and, you know, we work and this is just for fun. So we hope you enjoy and that the fun comes across as well to the screen. And we, you know, we're sure we're going to ebb and flow with time and evolve with time, just like anything. And I think, you know, hopefully we can, you know, make everyone aware of some movies maybe they weren't aware of.
Yeah, and you should be able to find them on streaming now.
Yeah.
It's a golden age in that.
Yes.
I know you're not entirely on board on streaming, but it is opening a lot of avenues.
We stream exclusively in my household, but I do have my collection of films, which when we can't find it on streaming, I'm like, hey, I think I have that.
And it should be known that's because you're a little bit like Dad.
You're
holding on to the nostalgia.
I'm a little too nostalgic for my own good a lot of times, and I may document and things for posterity that maybe don't need to be documented, but I do that too because I'm finding, and this might just be everybody I think maybe does this to an extent, but I feel like everything's changing so much now in the world and maybe in our geographic location. I just want to hold on to that stuff that was great from childhood, and probably that's the same for everybody.
Yeah, if you had a good childhood, you want to hold on to a piece of that. You want to carry that with you through life.
I mean, some people, like, you're a little easier to let go of things.
I'm a perjurer.
Yeah,
get it out of here.
I am not.
So I always run it by you. Do you want this before I
the
get
answer
rid of
is usually yes. I want that.
Yeah, you take all my junk.
But yeah, so I think part of that is just holding on and trying to document things because I think it's important to have, you know, a historical record of things that's accurate. You know, it's not just what somebody's talking about. It's I want it to be seen and known. So,
and that's what film is. That's the great part about movies.
It's beautiful.
A piece of time that you can carry with you. and watch through the ages and learn a little bit about history, even if it's not a historical movie, and see what time was like.
Yeah. Another fun fact about the summer of movies that perhaps is why we went with some disdain with it too, is these movies wouldn't just be their running time.
Oh no. They
Dad likes to give his director's commentary throughout any movie,
and he doesn't do it while the movie's playing. He pauses the movie
because you can't miss a single second.
You don't want to miss a moment of dialogue. There's a camera angle he doesn't want you to miss, and he'd say, wait for this next scene, or do you see that actor in the background, or do you know how we watched that movie?
Remember that guy bringing the drinks to the table? He was in that movie too.
He's a wealth of useless knowledge.
Oh yeah, and that
holds on to
my brain too. So I've inherited that.
So now you too will be a wealth of useless knowledge.
Benefit from my worthless knowledge here. And so that was the other thing. A lovely 2-hour movie might last 4 hours.
Oh my gosh. I still remember there was one time we're sitting downstairs. Mom came home from work. It was like 5 o'clock at night. And she's like, you're still down here?
We started the movie at like 12:30, 1 o'clock.
And especially, sometimes there was double feature days. And he would play 2.
If it was a shorter movie sometimes, yeah. Or the weather was bad or something.
He's like, what else are you going to do?
Yep, you're not going to go out, yeah.
But looking back, it's kind of a beautiful thing. Because you look at the ages we were, and it's almost like Dad was like trying to find a way to relate to us. He's trying to stay close to us.
Yeah.
And so it was his own little way of keeping his teenage daughters and him connected. And it worked. It worked. It worked. It really did. We were close with our parents.
We were very close with our parents.
All through teenage years. And they say, like, we weren't bad teenagers. No. Probably because he kept us on the couch all the time. We couldn't go and be bad if we wanted to.
I don't think I rebelled until college.
I don't think I ever rebelled. I'm waiting for that stage to kick in.
Well, you were away at college. I was living at home. It was a little more obvious for me.
But yeah, it was like a love letter to us almost.
It was. And and I think of it quite fondly now. So, and it's,
Thank you, Dad.
Thank you, Dad.
We love you.
We love you. But yeah, so that's another little tidbit. I'm sure we'll think of things as we go along that'll spark the memory.
Oh yes, especially in specific movies. Things will come up. So
absolutely. I remember specifically Casino taking 4 hours to watch.
Oh.
Because some of these he wouldn't have owned. He would tape them off of TV. So we'd have commercial breaks. And he'd fast forward them. But if he went a little too far over, we'd have to rewind it back. And you don't want to miss a second. I'm kind of like this. I'm not as bad with my family. But I'll pause it. You know, when people are going to the bathroom, I'm like, oh. And my husband will be like, oh, no, you don't have to pause it. I'm like, I'm going to pause it.
And that was me. I remember trying that trick with Dad. I'm just going to go to the bathroom. Yeah. Oh, we'll wait.
Yeah, we'll wait. No snacks, no drinks, no, you know, if you had a break, you were pausing the movie and taking. So you really had to bargain. If there was something you wanted to get upstairs for later, you had to make sure you were, you know, making your breaks appropriate.
Yeah, made your time count. Yes.
So this is, you know, in a nutshell, our childhood, which is, you know, probably what definitely made me quirky, but probably
we both have our quirks.
Yeah.
We talk in movie quotes quite often.
Oh yeah, so, like we both watched The Simpsons daily as a child, and so like we will often, you know, Simpsons especially, but in movies too, like there are certain things that live rent free in my brain that perhaps nobody else would ever think, because these weren't all A-list movies.
Yes, and thank goodness we can communicate with each other in those quotes and understand what we're talking about, because otherwise I would say these things and I'd sound like a crazy person.
Yeah, I do sometimes.
Oh yeah. I mean, I can't hold it back.
No, I can't hold it back. But that's who I am, and I'm cool with it.
Yeah. We're so glad that you're along for the ride with us.
Yeah.
We're so excited to start talking about movies.
Definitely. And if you have a movie that, you know, obviously we're going to be going, you know, we're aiming for a movie a week, you know, a video a week. And, you know, if we get around to it, maybe more than that, but we'll see how it goes. And if there's something that we're not covering, we have a pretty extensive list. It's going to take a while to get to them all. So we have a lot of planned content coming in the future. And if there's something that you really want or have an idea for, feel free to put it in the comments. We'll add it to the list.
I guarantee you we've seen it.
Yes. And we're starting out, these aren't just movies necessarily that were all popular during the time or anything like that. A lot of these are movies like we've watched as kids and are rewatching. We will eventually move on to like movies that we've not seen until maybe we were in our 20s or a little older. But for now, and there's a ton that we have from just our childhood and our teen years. So yeah. We'll be able to, I think, cover quite a bit in that. But yeah, is there anything else you want to add?
No, I think we're ready to get started.
I think so too. And that's why we picked our name, Sisters and Ebert, because during the time, if there's any younger people watching, they might not be familiar with the reference. The I guess critics of the time,
the iconic critics, people who watched every movie that came out and gave a review,
and it was in the newspaper,
and they had a show, a TV show where they would cover, I think, 3 movies in a segment.
I think so, yeah.
And it was all like the things that were coming out at that time.
In the theater.
Yeah, and they would give it a rating of 2 thumbs up, 2 thumbs down.
Yeah. And it was Siskel and Ebert. So,
yeah, that was their name. So, yeah. We are Sisters and Ebert because we're giving our own personal opinion. I'm sure people won't necessarily agree with everything that we say, but...
And you don't have to agree with us, and that's part of the fun of it.
And we're not saying a movie's bad just because we didn't like it. It's
absolutely not.
We came to an opinion with it because of how it was introduced to us, how it was displayed, and we just think it's funny to talk about those things.
And everybody has different tastes, too. So, I mean, it takes all kinds in the world. Yeah, and that's what's great. Yeah, so... I mean, yeah, you feel free to disagree with us. Feel free to agree with us, whatever. It's not going to hurt my feelings. But we appreciate you taking the time to watch our first video, and let's get rolling with our first movie.
We'll see you soon.
All right. 2 thumbs up. We'll see you at the movies.